What's good, YouTube? Damn, man, it feels good to be back, man. It's been I think I dropped my last video in March. Yeah, and it was like me taking a hike and things like that, and I had a couple videos on here of me working out. But yeah, man, I can go ahead and explain all that, man. I had a certain vision for this channel. I remember talking to my homies about what I wanted to do, then them shooting me ideas like, yo, you work out a lot, you might as well start making your videos about that. So ultimately I did. Quickly realized that I didn't start working out to be no content creator. I started working out because I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the way I looked. I wasn't playing sports anymore or anything like that, man. So that's why I started working out. I didn't work out ever because I wanted to be a content creator. There's a lot of gym content creators out there, nothing against that. But for me, ultimately, I started to realize the more I was recording my workouts, I started focusing more on how I looked on camera. Was I doing the right workouts? How was my split looking? Was my message getting across? I didn't even like pulling out my camera at the gym. So long story short, man, I'm not a gym content creator, never will be a gym content creator. Even when I was taking hikes, I took one hike, and I realized when I finished the hike, put the video up, I didn't get the same fulfillment I usually get on hikes. That feeling was not there, bro. And ultimately because of the stuff that I was doing those things off camera because it helped me mentally. And then when the camera got involved, I was focusing more on how the content looked. So I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. So I'm sorry if you did like my gym content, if you did like my hiking content. More than likely will not see that type of content anymore, man. But that's all good, man. I think it's important to do things that you like off camera, so you can still get that same fulfillment. I work out every day, and I love it, man. I don't have to pull out a camera. I do record some clips because I do like to see progress and things like that. And I might post them on TikTok, maybe throw a little short video on here. But for the most part, man, you won't see no full gym content video. Just not me. But yeah, man. It feels good to be back, man. I'm finally at a place in my life where I think I can, get back into doing some content, get back into talking, trying to be there for y'all, man. So where have I been? I'm here, man. I've been present. That's the main thing I think for me. Here lately, I've been seeing a lot of people on TikTok talk about, getting their master's degrees and things like that. And as a recent graduate, I graduated in May. Like you said, if you watch my last hiking video, I told you that I'm graduating soon, looking for jobs. I had a job interview the next day after that, and I got the job. I didn't take the job, but I got the job that I applied for. It was at Ohio State University, doing something that I love to do. I'm doing the same job now, just at a different university. Man, it feels crazy to say. Like I said, I had a job interview at Ohio State, got that job. Then I interviewed with NC State, also got that job. Then I interviewed with my dream school, which is the University of North Carolina. Go Hills, baby. Got that job as well. So I went 3 for 3. Ultimately, ended up choosing Chapel Hill. So I'm here now, living in Chapel Hill, man. But this is where the story unfolds. So my whole thing was, I've been seeing videos on TikTok about people talking about, getting master degrees and how much it takes out of you to get the master degrees. It's not just class assignments. And that's what I want to touch on. So, like I said, I graduated May 10th. And I thought going to college would solve all my problems. I didn't get scholarships or anything like that. Ultimately school was always where I found, joy at. Things were going bad at home. School was in my control. I controlled the grades that I got. I could, be the best student. I could do all that. That was up to me. So I put my all into school. Graduated high school, devastated. Didn't do anything I wanted to do. Finally got back into school. Started going to a community college, and then later transferred to UNC Charlotte. Didn't like it. Transferred to Appalachian State. That's ultimately where I finished my degrees at. So I graduated with my bachelor's in 2023. I'm just a normal person, when you think you will accomplish something like that, of that sort. First generation college student, so I'm the first in my family to ever graduate college. You think, okay, so life is gonna get great after that. Wrong. life did indeed not get better after, if I even said that right. Life didn't get better after that, man. I enjoyed it for the time being. I graduated on a Friday, I remember, and then Friday night, had fun with the homies. Saturday night, had fun with the homies. Sunday morning was kind of more of like a chill. My family came up, we went out to eat and things like that. It was Mother's Day, and I had a great time, but reality hit the very next day. I didn't have a full-time job after I graduated college, and I didn't get the fulfillment that I thought I was gonna get from graduating college. I was like, damn, man, like, you telling me I just went through all that, didn't go to college right after high school, worked at warehouses, all types of things, and I didn't get the fulfillment that I was looking for. So you know what I did? I went back to school. And then I went and got my master's, was doing a lot of things that I liked. I had a couple jobs, so I was working full time, and that really took a toll on me, but ultimately I was like, I'll do all this, I'll do what I can, graduate with my master's, get a good job, and then I'll be on top of the world. Wrong. Yeah, man, so what I had to realize was the things that I was searching for, the fulfillment in graduating, like I said, being the first in my family to do this, get a master's degree, like, I thought all that would solve all my problems, but it did not. And I'm okay to admit that now, because I've been working, to ultimately figure out what does bring me fulfillment. And it's not that. And to anybody who is getting any type of degree or pursuing any type of goals, I hope that you don't feel the same way I felt when that time comes when you achieve the goal that you're looking for. But if you do, just know it's okay. Like I said, I graduated, 2 months ago, man? I graduated 2 months ago, and I'm genuinely just now starting to feel refreshed. Like, grad school literally took every single part of me it took every single thing. It took everything out of me to graduate. And it wasn't just the assignments, like I had to work at a grad assistant position. They covered my tuition, so I had to do that. It was only 20 hours a week. Then the second semester of your first year of grad school, you have to get a practicum. I worked my practicum for free, 15 hours a week, so 35 hours total, still doing full-time class. So I'm doing all this, and I'm like, okay, it's gotta be worth it. It's gotta be worth it. I'm still taking care of my body. I'm working out, hanging out with friends. But ultimately, I was drained. And then our second year rolls around. So the first semester of my second year, things are going good. They're telling us to prepare for graduation. Like in the spring semester, we'll be applying for jobs, helping you guys with resumes and things like that. So, I'm like, okay, cool. One more semester, get to focus on straight jobs, and then we're good. Wrong again. We got hit with a Hurricane Helene. Right, boom, pretty bad, man. And I still get PTSD anytime I see like a flood watch or anything like that on my phone pop up, man. But yeah, so that was hard. I went 3 weeks without power. A few weeks without water. I was sleeping on my homies' couches. As soon as the gym opened back up, I was able to go work out and just shower there. And then a few weeks passed by and I got my things back on. But it ultimately took a huge toll on me. So then the next semester rolls around. It's my last semester. Okay, like, cool. 4 months, I'll graduate with a master's degree, have a good job, and I'll be happy, and that happened, but I wasn't happy, and it ultimately led me to think, like, so what do I gotta do? Like, I'm chasing all these goals, I'm chasing all these aspirations, knocking these milestones on, beating these generations and things like that, but I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it just don't make sense. Sorry, y'all, my roommate texted me, so I had to film me. But like I said, I was doing all these things, and I ultimately just wasn't happy, and I really didn't know what it was, So I sat myself down and told myself it was okay to feel like this, Like, just because I graduated college, twice doesn't mean that everything was gonna work out in my favor. But I wanted to start doing the work because I wanted to feel a certain, like I had a sense for living, a sense for doing all this, And ultimately, I think I'm starting to find that, and it's what I quickly realized is that no matter what type of goals you're chasing, what type of financial status you're chasing, what type of relationship status you're facing, those things, you won't find fulfillment in achieving those things if you don't enjoy the journey. So for me, like, I look back, and although I'm in a better place mentally now, I've been doing the work, eating better, working out, less time on social media and things like that, reading more books. I've been reading a lot here lately. It feels good reading for fun. In grad school I had to read because I had assignments due, but now I can read for fun. So now, that I'm able to, live the life that I want to, and I have a good job. Like I said, I'm working at my dream school, a school that I love since I was 5 years old, man. I'm just like, okay, so what is it? And that's it. Like I said, is being grateful and enjoying the journey. The best, looking back, even though, like I said, it's only been 2 months since I graduated, the best part of grad school was, hanging out with all my friends still, being 5 minutes away from all the homies, going through things with my classmates, just going to football games as a student and still having, not like some real responsibilities, but that was the best times, and then after, when all that was gone, like, I don't live close to any of my homies now. My closest friend stays 30 minutes away. He lives in Raleigh. But he has a life going on too, so we can't just link up all the time. But like that, enjoy the journey. Even if, like I said, if you're in grad school, if you're getting your bachelor's, community college, whatever you're doing, working full time, enjoy every single part. I watched the movie Soul today, and that ultimately really spoke to me because I was already, planning to make this video and things like that. But once I watched that movie and realized that I could be the richest person in the world, man. I could have it all. I could be the best athlete. I could, read the most books, get my doctorate degree, get all my degrees I can get. But if I don't learn to enjoy the journey, enjoy the little things, good meals, last with the homies, taking walks, just the ability to get in my car and drive anywhere I want to. I didn't have a car for a long. I didn't get my first car until I was 22 years old. Doing things like that, and being able to take care of my body. I can go to the grocery store and buy food whenever I want to. I have a nice bed and TV and things like that. PlayStation. I have the ability to make this video. That's where you find the peace and the happiness that So ultimately, like I said, I think I was chasing things that I was never gonna catch, and it didn't hit me until after grad school when I had the time to sit down and think about it. This whole time I was putting on the mask and fronting, not doing the proper healing, thinking I'm healed and saying I'm healed, but not actually, didn't have the time to actually sit down and realize that I still had a long way to go. Like I said, it's only been 2 months, but I'm in such a good place, and I still have so far to go. But I can look back and see how far I've came. I'm grateful to be in this position. I'm grateful to have my master's degree. And I'm grateful that I was able to feel those feelings. And honestly, like I said, I'm not perfect, man. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I don't speak up when I need to speak up all the time. But I'm trying. That's all we can do. You're human. You gotta have grace with yourself, and be just. If you don't listen to anything I don't say so far, it's just be grateful. I don't care if one person watches this video, a million people watch this video, but I hope I can reach one person and just tell them to be grateful, enjoy the journey, shoot for the stars, and if you fall, shoot for them again. I love this quote. I've been seeing this quote a lot lately. If you do fall on your back, that way, you can still get up, ultimately it all works out. It's not gonna be perfect, and that's also, you gotta find the beauty in the unknown, find the beauty in the pain, and then you'll ultimately end up where you're supposed to be at. So to whoever watching this, if you don't take anything that I said to heart, call my bullshit, whatever you want to do, say what you want to say, but what I'm saying is true, you gotta be grateful because you can reach all these milestones, reach all these accomplishments. But if you don't enjoy the little things in life, you'll never be truly happy. Reese Revealed, man. Hopefully this touches somebody, and if not, I'm gonna try to keep making more videos. Like I said, I got more free time now. I am doing this little journey, 6-month journey. It ends on my birthday, which is golden. My birthday is on January 1st. I started this new journey July 1st, where I'm just eating different, reading more books, getting outside more, staying on. I don't use social media during the week. I only have social media on the weekends. Saving money, meal prepping, which is insane. But you know, ultimately, like I said, another quote. Nothing changes if nothing changes. You know, like I said, I can try to find all the fulfillment in the world, but if I don't make these proper changes, do the proper work, I'll ultimately never feel grateful. You know, so that's my goal now, man. I really do hope that you guys come along this journey with me and maybe try these things for yourself. You know, like, subscribe, share, or not, it's totally fine. Comment if this video helped you out. If you have any questions, you want to know anything about me, feel free to ask. You know, I'm a cool guy. So, yeah. Thank you very much.